Good morning. 16th of November, put the tip in here. Um, Flat day yesterday. I mean, we did well at Cheltenham, but in terms of our standard horses, not so much. Buster Move, no show. Smoke Ring in the Dark, no show. Tier 2, Kelsey, no show. Cheesy's Icon, no show. The only one who did do pretty good, to be fair, was Great Notions. Finished second, love that. In the overpriced section, Gal Road opened us with a very tasty place. It was kind of, between 12s and 16s in the morning, which is when I had got on. And then by the time we'd done the video, it was around 10s to 8s, um, and went off at 8s. But just a very solid place. She's a Diva was okay, but nothing impressive. And Chatamento was, yeah, and nothing. Cheltenham, however, Cheltenham, we had winners. That was good. But by the time I come off the video, for instance, first race hopes are high, second race Java Point, they were falling like flies. I told you it was a Dan Skelton day. It was, of course, a Dan Skelton day. Um, yeah, just beautiful, beautiful day for him. Lots of winners, lots of good rides. I just think it's his season. Um, I think gone is the dominance of my favourite trainer, Paul Nicholls, and kind of, the Irish coming. I genuinely think this could be a year where you could, and maybe I'm speaking ahead of time, but I think you might see the English um, beat the Irish in the trophy at Cheltenham. I don't know. I just have the feeling about it. Maybe I'm totally wrong. We'll see as the season develops. A lot of these Irish horses, high quality, don't come out till kind of around Christmas, if not post Christmas. But yeah, I do just have a funny feeling about the season, and I just think that trophy could head our way for the first time in a long time. Let's move on to today. So we're gonna do our general horses first, and I'll do your Cheltenham preview after. That's because Navan starts at 11:47, and obviously we kind of need to get through that. Whereas Cheltenham doesn't start till 1:15. I'm finding all of these kind of winter hours a bit straining on the doing the research in time. Um, so uh, yeah, if you could be a bit forgiving at times, I guess if it's a little bit late, but I will do my best. We will jump straight in to your tier one horses today. So we've got four. We start in the 12:57 at Fontwell, and that is just 40 at 5-1. Um, Very consistent runner. This isn't an extra place race as per usual if you can find it. Happy days. Um, but very consistent runner. Loves soft ground over in France. Has swapped to Warren Greatdrax, who's obviously a solid trainer. Harry Bannister's a well accomplished jockey. There's a Dan Skelton horse in this race, who I do think tempers our excitement about this horse. However, I don't think that horse enjoys the soft ground as much as our lad. So just 40 for me at 5-1 is a solid bet. We then have two in the next race, which is 205 at Fontwell. The 205 at Fontwell, and that is Shantu Lucky, and a Vein. A Vein. Now, I actually had four or five that could meet your shortlist here. There's only an 11 runner race, so I had to narrow it down. Because like Record High is a perfectly good horse. Puddles in the Park, I think, could be a perfectly good horse. Um, and naturally, the Dan Skelton runner Deep Purple could be a good horse. All of those three, however, have questions on the ground. Our two for me don't. A Vein is 8-1, and Shanty Lucky is 11-2. I like both of those each way to take on the field. I'd lean, if you prefer to come down. I've only just realised that obviously they are both James Owen horses, and we know how good he is. But if I had to lean, I'd go the way of Shanty Lucky, just because I think a bit more of a sure thing on the ground. But I think both, Avena's run so solidly, I don't think you can rule out. So that is the way I would go. Finally, we go to the 232 at Navan. So the 232 at Navan, and we actually go with a bit of an outsider. Um, so obviously Jigginstown have multiple horses in this as per usual, and I love Jigginstown. Um, that was probably when I grew up, kind of the horses I followed, I think, the most. I had favourites outside of that, and actually none of my favourites are Jigginstown. However, Jigginstown were kind of like the ones dominating Irish racing, and they've spread out. Obviously, we've got horses with Bromhead, horses with Elliot, horses with Mullins, and that's exciting because they can take each other on. But the horse here I'm looking at is Search for Glory. Search for Glory in the 232 at Navan at 14 to 1. And the reason being is A, Search for Glory will like the ground, um, and is used to kind of like these big handicaps. But also, the record fresh is the bit for me. I think there's only one race fresh that Search for Glory hasn't won, and I think that came second. So I just think it's a solid bet at 14s each way. It was tempting actually not to put this in tier one and put it elsewhere, but I've just got a hunch. I guess is the easiest way to say it, and it's a six-place race. So Cada Borman heads the field, but I don't think it's the most consistent. Will the Wise is the most consistent, but I'm not sure. Um, a lot of people think the step up in triple suit. I'm not unsure. And also Gavin Cromwell's horses, to be honest, you saw it at Cheltenham yesterday. I don't think are running as well as they could be. So for me, I take it on. There's other horses I like in this race. So I like in this race, I really like Ballybourne Bells from Union Station. And to be honest, even Pied Piper at a price. But the one I came down on is Search for Glory. So that's your four. We'll move on to your tier two. And today I've been able to incorporate some Cheltenham. So we got three horses and two of them are Cheltenham horses. Your 115, um, which I've just realised Sky have posted a bumper price boost for Harry Skelton to ride a winner today. I'll definitely be doing my research and posting about that. Because my tip in the first is a Harry Skelton horse, and that's Soldier Reeves. A really solid run in a bumper at Newton Abbot on soft ground. Today is soft to heavy. I think it'll end up being on the heavier side, um, judging by yesterday as well. Um, I know Cheltenham drain's reasonable, but on the higher points of the track, it's got to still be heavy. Um, that far side. So Soldier Reeves, I think, will love the ground. I don't think a lot ahead of him in the market have the same assurances. Um, so to me, that's the horse I want to go with. Four places, 14 runners. Soldier Reeves is a solid bet. You move to your 220 at Cheltenham, um, and this time not a Scout's horse. Tornado in the 220 at Cheltenham. Run very consistently, bar one fall at the end of last year. Um, Again, we'll love the ground. The softer, the better, in my opinion. Um, we'll love the strip of stamina that this kind of ground gives. Um, and yeah, it's a wide open race, but I just think that's where the value is. The favourite Glenguli obviously showed a revival in its last run, but not consistent in the slightest. I like a consistent horse. Tornado is that horse. And finally, we go to the 1147 at Navan, hence doing this video first. And the horse in the 1147 at Navan is Searcog. Searcog. This could have easily gone in the overpriced section. Um, it's 10 to 1 and it loves the ground softer than soft. Again, this Navan is soft to heavy. Run very consistently, generally speaking, including on the flat. Um, the form isn't as strong as kind of the rest of them. Uh, 'Cause I also like Wackerstone in this, and Glen to Glen has form, but I'm not as keen. Um, Wackerstone's probably the more solid, but at 10 to 1, Searcog is solid to me. 12 runners, that's the horse I want to take the field with. We go to Overpriced. Overpriced was a lot harder today because there are lots of overpriced horses. You could pretty much ignore this if you don't like multiple horses in a race. The first one, because the 1322 at Navan, I like Big Clubman, Frankie John, and Marjax Hill. I think, unfortunately, there's only 9 runners, so it's impossible to narrow down between the three. Eclipse Chaser is a justified favourite, but I like taking it on. I think there's horses to take it on with there at very good odds, 12 to 1, 16 to 1, and 18 to 1, respectfully. The 157 at Navan, that's the 157 at Navan, the sixth place race, A class. Is heavily overpriced at 25 to 1. This could have actually gone in a tier and almost went in quite a good tier. It wouldn't be minimum tier 2, possibly tier 1. It's ended up in overpriced just because it's drifting like a barge, and someone must know something I don't, but will love the ground, run solidly. I think it's more the names that are in the race, like your Cromwells, your Elliots, your Mullins, etc., your de Bromheads. Um, A class is obviously with Flavin, who is a lesser trainer in terms of, I guess, popularity, and so maybe that sways the market, but solid at 25s. Your 307 at Navan, 307 at Navan, and that is Park That, and that is 80 to 1. That horse is so overpriced, it is unreal. We'll love the ground, we'll love the extra stamina test. I'm telling you right now, at 80 to 1, if you can get 4 place race, because Final Demand probably wins, let's be honest. If you can get a 4 place race at 80 to 1, this is a solid place horse. Yeah, I just don't understand the odds. Um, Again, you've obviously got that de Bromhead, Elliot, Mullins sway. Finally, the 342 at Navan. I've got a couple of horses for you, and that is, I'll just make sure I get this right, Royal Hillsborough and Churchfield Annie. Um, Again, you got that Mullins effect in actually the odds are stretched out, and Emmett Mullins wins Churchfield Annie, who is solid. Um, and Royal Hillsborough on the first run and soft ground, I think would stand a chance here. 28 to 1 for Royal Hillsborough is way overpriced, and 8 to 1 for Churchfield Annie. It's probably just on the cusp. I may even be tempted to take it out, but I do think it stands a solid chance. That's it for this one. Like I say, I'll do my research on that Scouts bet, but this has already been a long enough video. I'll get this live so I can do my Cheltenham preview. But there's your horses. Fingers crossed it's better form today. We will see.